Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Tuesday, the 1st of August. Good to have you aboard. Presented as always by Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. Everything ZASLOW Show 2.0, including our wrestling show every weekend, It's Still Real to Me, is always presented by Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. If you've been involved in any kind of an accident, I send you to where you're going to be treated like family and get the money that you deserve. None of this here at ZASLOW Show 2.0 is possible without Anidjar and Levine and their support. And now they're ready to help you. Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. We're going to talk a bunch of Heat, Damian Lillard stuff. Nothing new per se, although you do have a note on Twitter, on X. I'm not calling it X. You got a note on Twitter, Barry Jackson, Miami Herald, saying the Portland Trail Blazers are still disinclined to talk to the Miami Heat, which I don't get it. I mean, this is where I feel that the Blazers, I can understand Damian Lillard's frustration because they probably lied to him. If they told him, now, they would obviously like to be able to negotiate with multiple teams and get a deal that everyone could be happy, where Lillard could be happy where he goes, and they could be happy at the return that they get. But if they came to an agreement that we will explore, we will trade you if you want to be traded, and we will explore something that works out for everybody, how is that in good faith if the Blazers have refused to even sit down and talk to the Miami Heat? That's not negotiating in good faith. If you told Damian, you may not like, and we know they don't like, that Lillard said, I only want to go to Miami, and they made a whole big stink about it, and then the league sent out a memo, and here we are. The Blazers may not like that, nor should they like that. I've told you, I got to take the emotion out of it. The Blazers should not like that. But if the Blazers had an agreement with Damian Lillard that if you get to a place that you want out, we will explore a trade, and then you haven't even sat down with the Miami Heat, then they lied to him. That's not negotiating in good faith. You may not like the assets the Heat have, but if you sit down with the Heat, maybe they're ready to tell you, we got this team and this team lined up over here, and this is everything that you're going to get. It doesn't just involve us. But if the Blazers have refused to even sit down or have a serious conversation with the Heat, you know why Damian Lillard will be mad, and that's not negotiating in good faith. So I feel like the Blazers have probably been lying to Damian Lillard. We're going to talk to my pal Evan Cohen, SiriusXM Mad Dog Radio, Morning Men. Everybody knows that's my favorite show, so we're going to get him on. He is a huge Heat fan. We're going to get kind of a national perspective there, and we're going to ask him, hey, do you think, have the Blazers been lying? What do you make of the player empowerment? All of that stuff. Do you think that the memo that came out over the weekend, does that change the Miami Heat and Damian Lillard still being able to get together? So our pal Evan Cohen, he always brings it. Matter of fact, SiriusXM NBA Radio, he's on there all the time. He was on this past weekend, shouting and yelling about the league being unfair to the Heat and sending out that memo to all 30 teams over the weekend. So our pal Evan Cohen is going to join us coming up here in a few minutes. Last night, middle of the night, U.S. women's national team. That's right. They needed to get a point in order to advance. If they lost last night to to Portugal, it would be very possible, depending on what happens with Netherlands and Vietnam, that they'd be knocked out. Well, Netherlands beat Vietnam 7-0. The U.S. tied Portugal. So they advance. But, look, I'm not going to sit here and talk like I'm some kind of expert, A in soccer, B in the U.S. women's national team. But this is not a good look. They scored 4 goals in 3-match games. They go scoreless last night in a game that if they lost, they would have been knocked out in group play. And they went scoreless. And hey, Netherlands just beat Vietnam 7-0. The U.S. only scored 3 goals on Vietnam in a game they were favored by 6. So far here, this is not a good, yes, survive and advance. But so far, this would appear to not be a good showing from the U.S. women's national team. You'll hear a little bit more of that coming up on Big Deal or Not a Big Deal. So I didn't stay up. Come on, staying up for the game or wake up early, not a chance. 3 a.m.? You think I need that in my life? I didn't see a second of the game. Not any of it. But anyway, so like I said, a little bit more on that coming up later on in the show. Before we continue, I got to tell you guys, I got a message from my guy Michael last night, and he said, Zaslow, I'm so glad to hear you talk about water cleanup of Florida. My parents, they have a water issue in their home, emergency after hours. They called water cleanup of Florida. They're getting it taken care of right away. I'm like, oh, it's amazing. You can go to WCUFL.com, water cleanup. It's such a cool thing about doing this where I get the sponsors on the show, get the different advertisers, and to then have listeners like Michael who reach out, be it via Twitter or DM or text message, Instagram, where I'm an influencer, of course, however you reach out to me. And then to actually hear, firsthand account that you're using one of the sponsors. And look, this happens all the time with all of my sponsors. Every now and then I'll get a message from a listener like Michael last night saying, I'm so glad I called Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. They're helping my parents out right now. And I love hearing that because obviously I like that you're using, I like that my guys at Water Cleanup of Florida taking care of Michael and his parents. But it's a cool feeling where, yeah, so I got the sponsors who support my show, who support me, and it's working. Listeners are using, look, the way this works, the way it goes round and round, I'm never going to charge you guys for the show. That's never going to happen. But the way that doesn't happen, the way that the show continues is support the sponsors who support the show. So I love hearing stuff like that where, yeah, it works. Sponsors are on the show, and the listeners are using the sponsors. Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. Love hearing that. All right, so we're going to talk to my guy Evan Cohen, do a lot of heat with him. We'll do a lot of NBA with him. We'll do some silly stuff. I got to ask him about this. So I have a situation here. What's the situation? Next month, because we're in August now, next month, I'm going to see Pearl Jam. It'll be the 26th show that I've seen them. It's not a competition, though. It's a special show for me. It's going to be the best ever because I'm taking both my sons. Both of them. My older one, it'll be his third. My younger one, first time. So the three of us, we're going. The show is in Fort Worth, Texas. All right? So we got to fly into Dallas, Fort Worth. Okay, fine. Now I got to buy the plane tickets. No big deal, but it's next month, so I got to get around to doing this. I got a decision to make, now. So here's the thing. Most of the airlines, specifically American, let's say, because Dallas is a hub for American, the flight's $230 round trip per person. That's not a bad rate. Perfectly reasonable rate. But here's the thing. Spirit flies round trip nonstop to Dallas, Fort Worth also. I know all you're saying, oh, Spirit, this, that, it's the Walmart of the skies. All the videos you see on YouTube, it's all bad behavior, it's all on Spirit. Look, I've flown Spirit before a couple times. I've never had an issue. But I understand. It's all a la carte. It's super low pricing, but there's no frills, nothing included. And again, you may have the people behaving poorly. All right. Anyway, I've never had an issue. Do I want to fly Spirit? Not particularly. But here's the thing. What do I do here? I need you to send me a message at ZASLOW Show on Twitter. I'm not calling it X. Or at ZaslowJ on Instagram. I already gave you the round trip price for American, those other flights, mid-200s. Decent price. Spirit, round trip, $78. What am I supposed to do? We're only going for 2 nights. That's a backpack carry-on. We'll have to pay for the carry-on because it's going to fit underneath the seat. Each of us has a little backpack. No problem. We'll not have to pay for that. And, it's not like we're going to sit next to any low-caliber people or whatever like that because it's 3 of us going, so we're going to take up an entire row. All right. We're sitting just next to each other. $78. I told my son, he thinks we're going to sit on the wing. We're not even going to be inside the plane. He thinks we're going to be holding on for dear life on the wing. $78. Round trip. nonstop. Like, I have to do that, right? Don't I have to do that? Look, ZASLOW Show 2.0 is doing fine, but we don't have a money tree in the backyard. There's no money tree. $78 round trip. Don't I have to do that? We're just trying to get from point A to point B. What would you do in that spot? I need to hear from some people. I need some suggestions here. All right. It's Tuesday. You know what we do now on Tuesdays. We brought it back a few weeks ago. Let's get to Twitter Jam. That's right. Tuesdays, ZASLOW Show 2.0. We have brought back Twitter Jam. And today's Twitter Jam topic, the Miami Dolphins. That's right. The Miami Dolphins are fully engulfed in training camp now. By the way, NFL preseason starts 2 days. I think it's Browns and Jets, right? This weekend, and we'll do more on this later in the week. This weekend, Zach Thomas, this Saturday afternoon, going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That shit's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about that. But let's get to some Twitter Jam today. It is on the Miami Dolphins and how they've been doing at camp. You know, the people that are at camp and they love sending the videos, the messages. Tua just threw a deep pass, blah, blah, blah. Let's do some Dolphins Twitter Jam today. This tweet here is from Josh Houts. He covers the Miami Dolphins. He writes for the Finsider. He is at Houts on Twitter. And he tweets here, according to the film, Cam Smith was sensational today. The second-round draft pick was making play after play. And it's a video of Cam Smith doing his thing. And this is super important because, yes, they signed Eli Apple over the weekend, but this Dolphin team is actually deep at cornerback. With Jalen Ramsey going out, I told you my stance. I'm not losing sleep over Jalen Ramsey going out. It would have been fun to have Jalen Ramsey, and he'll be back hopefully at some point in the season, but Xavier Howard at full form, the secondary will be good enough. And you got guys like Cam Smith here, who's a second-round pick. So good job there by Josh Houts letting us know what's going on. How about here? This tweet is from DolphinsTalk.com, at Dolphins Talk. And they tweet out, sounds like Kader Kohou wants to keep number 4 and may not give it up if Dalvin Cook joins Miami. Attached is a video of Cam Wolf from NFL Network talking to Kader Kohou about this.
Speaking of jerseys, I want to ask you this. You wear number 4. There's been conversations about Dalvin Cook here in Miami and what that happens. He wears number 4. What is that number if he came here that he would have to get? Is there a number that he could pay you for that jersey?
I had to sit and think about that. I don't know.
It'd be a number, but it'd probably be big, right?
I really don't. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like 4.
You like 4?
Yeah, I like
Look good on you. It looks good on you.
So another guy that we got high hopes for, Kader Kohou, as far as Dalvin Cook is concerned, no news yet. We know he visited the Jets over the weekend. The fact that he hasn't signed with the Jets, I feel like the Jets are not going to be cheap with him. The fact that he signed with the Jets, it really feels like Dalvin Cook is begging the Dolphins to sign him. All right, this tweet is from our pals at the Fish Tank, at the Fish Tank 81. That's Seth Levitt, OJ McDuffie. They do the postgame show on the Dolphins radio network. And the Fish Tank tweets out, football may have come first for former Fins D tackle AJ Francis, but wrestling was always the plan. Dive in as the man known as Top Dollar takes us on a wild ride. And of course, that's the Fish Tank podcast. And there's a video of Top Dollar, WWE superstar, Hit Row. Yes, that's right. Top Dollar from Hit Row. If you are a WWE fan, his name's AJ Francis. He was a linebacker for the Dolphins for a couple years. And the way that I understand it, yes, he's always been a huge wrestling fan, doesn't even like football, does not follow football, knows nothing about the NFL now, and he's Top Dollar. So go check that out, the Fish Tank on their podcast. Who better than Top Dollar? So they got Top Dollar on the show this week. How about this tweet is from our pal Orlando Alzagari at Big O Show. And he tweets out here, all right, Miami Dolphins fans, if you're headed to Canton for Zach Thomas's induction into the Hall of Fame, let's meet this Friday, 2 p.m. at Shula's Bust in the Hall of Fame to sing the Miami Dolphins fight song together and post it on social media. So how about that? If you're going to the Hall of Fame induction this weekend for Zach Thomas, I think they're going to get a good Dolphin contingent there. Big O is telling you, it's Friday, 2 p.m., Hall of Fame Museum, meet at Shula's Bust. And you guys are all going to do a thing for social media. That sounds like a lot of fun. Go hang out with my guy, Big O. He's a great dude. All right, how about this tweet here? This is from Joe Shad, at Shad Joe. He covers the Dolphins for the Palm Beach Post. Just in, Dolphins front seven, most talented in the NFL. Dolphins defensive line, linebackers wreaking havoc in training camp. Dolphins defense, David Long, even without Jalen Ramsey, look elite as the pads come on. Great to hear. And this is what I said, without Jalen Ramsey, Vic Fangio's job was not to be the defensive coordinator contingent on Jalen Ramsey. Now, you got enough talent here, man. The D-line, the linebackers, the secondary. There's enough talent there to have a great defense. How about this from Will Manso, WPLG Local 10? He tweets out, Zach Thomas on the current roster, quote, great talent on this roster. Says they also have great coaching on offense and defense. Praises Chris Greer on building this roster. He's as high on this team as he's been in a long time. How about that? And finally here, this is Cameron Wolf, NFL Network. He tweets out, Xavier Howard joked on NFL Network that initial reaction to Aaron Rodgers' Jets rumors was, dang, don't do it. But after Rodgers became a Jet, Howard said, I'm going to like going against him twice a year. I dropped one interception last year, so I owe him. That's what I'm talking about. And that right there is another edition of Twitter Jam. All right, how about that? Hey, guys, you know, if you've been thinking about treating yourself, what better time right now than to go search for a brand new car? And the only place I'm sending you, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. If you're in the market or you're thinking about getting in the market for a new car, you can't decide where to go, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, conveniently located on North Andrews Avenue, just north of Cypress Creek Road, the building you know and the place to go. You can search right now, nflsubaru.com. You always get more at North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. Guaranteed most money for your trade and lifetime warranty included on all North Fort Lauderdale Subaru vehicles. Again, shop nflsubaru.com if you're looking for a spacious SUV for the family. Maybe you're just looking for something fun for yourself. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru has the widest inventory of newest Subaru models on the market. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, go shop right now from the comfort of your home at nflsubaru.com.